Right, hello lads and lasses and welcome back to Boys Down Under. And yes, as promised, today we are going to look at how Australia reacted to Celtic winning the league. And let me say, if you thought there was an incredible reaction to Celtic winning the League Cup title and, the derby at Celtic Park and the derby at Ibrox, well, they seem minuscule to this. Before we go any further though, please, if you are enjoying the videos and you are enjoying the content, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It supports me heaps and it supports the channel, and I appreciate each and every one of you who do that. And even if you don't do that, I still appreciate you because you're here and watching. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, how did Australia react to Celtic winning the league? Well, there was some moan and there was some groan and not really people caring too much or too fussed on anything. Psych! Australia has gone absolutely mental with Celtic winning the league. Now, absolutely mental is the correct terminology here. However, mental would suffice, but where should we start? Social media. Holy social media erupted today and this morning, like Mount Vesuvius and Pompeii, and there are two. I'm on Instagram, by the way, just as a disclaimer. When I talk about social media, I mainly mean Instagram. Facebook goes similarly because all the content's the same across the two, but I use Instagram. Anyways, there are two accounts in particular, A-Leagues and Optasport. These are like the big fish in a small pond of coverage of Australian football. A-League's account is focused on the A-League men's and A-League women's. Generally, or always, it focuses on them and their results and whatnot, like the SPFL account for Scotland. But Optasport then focuses on, more the Premier League because it has the rights to it. But also, it does dabble in a bit of Europe as well from time to time. But back to A-Leagues, and the A-Leagues is so oftenly given some unfair slander, I believe. It is oftenly referred to either the Ange Leagues or the Ange fan account. Now, this I understand why, because the sheer coverage Ange and Celtic get on this, especially Ange, is absolutely mental for a manager who doesn't even coach in the league anymore. And to be fair, I agree. He is the greatest Australian manager of all time, and he has managed two teams in the league, one of them leading them to a 36-game unbeaten streak and a title. So that is very impressive, and also a former NSL team. Well, yeah, a team that was in the NSL, but NSL got kicked off. Anyways, the coverage he gets is fully deserved. The first post today, a mere 2 minutes after Celtic won the league. How did it go? It was something like incredible. Congratulations to Ange Postecoglou and Tom Rogic, doing Australia proud. It was something along those lines. That was like a minute after, Celtic, the final whistle went. Then 2 hours later, a post about Ange himself and how he is one of the greatest contributors to the A-Leagues and he is dominating in front of a global audience. Now, Optasport, on the other hand, the A-League, it's a bit, there wasn't as much today as I thought there would be, but it was still, you could sense the vibe was there. But the Optasport, on the other hand, holy moly, we should be calling them, Ange Sport or Optus Ange, because they have been absolutely, riding it. They've just been giving him so much attention today. And since Celtic were named champions this morning, so we'll say maybe 6:30 a.m. Since they were named champions at 6:30 a.m. officially, there have been 10 posts on Optasport's Instagram page. 5 of which, half of those posts have been about Celtic and Ange Postecoglou. Half of an account that doesn't even have the broadcasting rights to the Scottish League. The first post was obviously congratulating Celtic on winning the Scottish Premiership. Very standard. Love to see it. Love hearing it as well. Celtic are your champions for the 2021-2022 Scottish Premiership season. Clinched the cinch. Anyways, the second post, a post regarding Kenny Dalglish's praise for Ange and how Ange had posters of Kenny on his wall as a kid. The third post, a post that goes on to say, sacked by Christmas, they said. What they didn't say, and then it is a list of Ange's accomplishments this season. And you know what? Because I'm in the mood, we're going to list Ange's accomplishments this season. 5 Manager of the Month awards, 1 Scottish Writers Football Association's Manager of the Year, one Scottish Premiership title and one League Cup title. Pretty decent, I'd say, for a manager set to be sacked by Christmas. The fourth, a quote hailing Ange's achievements at every club he's been at. There was a quote on it as well. And fifth and finally, announcing that Ange will be the first Australian manager ever to manage in the UEFA Champions League, effectively reminding all of us Celts that Celtic will have a guaranteed Champions League next year. How good. £30 million. So beautiful. And that is just social media. I haven't even gotten into the mainstream media yet, which we'll do now, but still, it has gone absolutely off chops with the news. You know, off chops, it sort of means off the rails, and it sort of means, you know, they've gone a bit crazy with it. Now, firstly, I got to mention, just in case, because my mum pesters me about this, just in case you guys do want to read the articles, I'll link everyone I mention down in the description, so be sure to check that out if you get bored. But firstly, The Guardian Australia. Love The Guardian. Free, unbiased news, I believe. Two great articles. The first, Ange Postecoglou is the perfect fit for Celtic and now has title to prove it. And The Standard, Celtic crowned Scottish Premiership champions after draw at Dundee United. Gotta love The Guardian. Have nothing against it. Then you've got Murdoch Media, Fox Sports Australia. We're not going to bag the Murdoch Media right now because this isn't a political channel, but this is rather a Celtic Football Club channel who are top of the league. So I'll refrain. Anyway, Fox Sports Australia reporting the sledge has fueled Ange to pull off Mission Impossible and why it's just the start. As well as nobody gave us much of a chance. Ange lost for words after unbelievable Celtic title. News.com.au reporting lost for words. Postecoglou's Celtic clinch title. Now that is just many few of so many articles circling the internet right now. I could guarantee there are some articles in the paper as well. Unfortunately, we haven't received the paper for today. It is a bummer. However, we move on. That's okay. We can deal with it. But hey-ho, what this really and truly shows is the coverage of Celtic down here in Australia. Celtic Football Club was always huge in Australia. Don't get me wrong. It's always been big. But since Ange's appointment and the success Ange has brought to the club in such a short turnaround, he's established himself, without a doubt, as the greatest Australian manager of all time. He has taken, you know, Celtic Football Club's presence in Australia to new heights. And I can guarantee I will not hear the end of Celtic winning the league for a good week or two. Am I complaining? Of course not. It's bloody amazing. But still, that is just trying to show the bar, how much coverage this will get. And, you know, it might die down about Celtic and it'll probably focus on Ange because, you know, Ange is the Aussie and he's the greatest Australian manager of all time, must I add. But still, you know, I've got to, you know, there's been so many instances. You know, I was in an Uber 2 days ago. You know the Ubers. The first thing the driver says to me, "Do you watch football?" I'm like, yeah, I watch football. Then he goes, "Have you seen what Postecoglou's been doing at Celtic?" Completely catches me off guard. I have to laugh. Not in like laughing at him, but like chuckling to myself. Because of how ridiculous, you'd never expect to hear that. You never expect to hear Postecoglou's name or Celtic brought up in an Uber, you know, unless you bring it up yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually a Celtic fan myself. And the funny thing is, he wasn't a Celtic fan himself, but he just followed Celtic's results now that Ange was managing the club. And it just shows how big Celtic have become down here in Australia, you know, and it's all thanks to Ange, you know. If Ange was failing and miserably, you know, maybe we wouldn't get so much coverage. But he's just done the absolute opposite. He's taken this football club to new heights down here in Australia where we have gotten more coverage this year than we have in the last 10 years. You know, it is absolutely crazy. And the reaction to winning the league has absolutely exemplified this. You know, on the radio, browsing the internet, browsing social media, you can't escape it anymore. You know, I love it. You know, it may be annoying for someone who doesn't care about Scottish football, but for me, it's absolutely incredible. And for the rest of the Celts down here in Australia, you know, Celtic are the biggest club in Scotland, and we're the biggest club in Scottish football is the biggest club in Australia. Where am I going with this? Celtic, biggest club in Scotland. Celtic. Has the biggest following in Australia of a team from Scotland. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think I'm waffling right now. But, you know, how good does it feel to be a Celt right now? You know, hopefully you guys could gather a bit from what I tried to explain in this video about how Celtics react, how Australia's reacted to Celtic winning the league. Look, it's been pandemonium. You know, I think, like I said earlier, I'm not going to hear the end of it for at least 2 weeks, and even then, it'll just continue rambling on about how good of a job Ange has done here, and I'm all for it. I love it. But, you know, it's just incredible. Never seen anything like it. You know, you used to get the occasional post when Tom Rogic did well, but it's every week, it's every day, it's every hour. Specifically for today, it was every hour. You know, and it's incredible. It's just I'm lost for words. I'm waffling. That is all from me. You know, I hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We take on Motherwell tomorrow. Fly the flag, lift the trophy, and until next time, hail, hail.